You are Sint Maarten. You are Sint Maarten.
The URSM, the Unified Resilient Sint Maarten Movement, being a political movement, will be hosting a weekly radio program called You Are Sint Maarten, every Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on the Radio Mix 94.7 FM. I myself, Dr. Messalina, the political leader of URSM, will be hosting this radio program in which current issues, actualities and general topics will be discussed with the people of Sint Maarten. So join us every Wednesday on Radio Mix 94.7 for our radio show You Are Sint Maarten.
You are Sint Maarten. You are Sint Maarten.
Dear people of Sint Maarten, good evening. Welcome to your radio program You Are Sint Maarten on the Radio Mix 94.7 FM. I myself, Dr. Messalina, will be your host in this radio program. As you know, I'm the surgeon in Sint Maarten, serving this country as a doctor, as a surgeon since 1999. And now I'm also since 10/10/2021 the political leader of the URSM, the Unified Resilient Sint Maarten Movement. This is a political party that is aware of the needs, the hope and the aspiration of the people of this country. This URSM stands for governing with integrity, with morals, with principles, and of course offering transparency in the period that they will govern this country. Further, this political URSM will be contesting the upcoming elections for country Sint Maarten in the nearby future. Hopefully this will be sooner than later, considering the crisis that the people of Sint Maarten is going through. As you know, Sint Maarten, the URSM stands for putting the people and of course the country above self and believe in educating and informing the people of Sint Maarten. We strongly believe that there should be a good and sound balance between economic growth and a welfare society. We are presenting a weekly program in which current topics, community developments and issues, and general matters concerning the people of Sint Maarten are discussed. Today we have a special guest with us in our program. As you know, we from the URSM presenting this You Are Sint Maarten radio program try to invite invitees in this program that we really think can make a difference in informing the people about current issues in our country. Especially now that our people are in cry, there is a lot of socio-economic challenges for the people of this country. I think it's very appropriate for we to have those that always are soldiers in time of war, for the laborers, for those in need. And these people are, of course, the leaders of the unions. And today, again, to show the people of Sint Maarten that we really care about their personal issues, I decided, together with the URSM, to invite today with me Mr. Ludson Evers. Mr. Ludson Evers is a very known person in our community, and Mr. Ludson Evers is very known because he has been for years a union leader and especially the leader of the Sint Maarten Communication Union. Mr. Ludson Evers, for me it's a great honor and a great pleasure to have you in our program. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Messalina, better known as Doc. Thank you for, good evening, radio listeners. Thank you for having me in your radio program. For me, it's an honor to be here and always to speak on behalf of the citizens of Sint Maarten.
Very good, Ludson. We have something in common. You want to speak about the citizens, on behalf of the citizens, just like we want. We want the best for the people of this country. And that's why we thought it's very appropriate to have people that have always fought for the good, the common good of the people of Sint Maarten. And that's why the URSM decided, because they have a great respect for what you have been doing on union level for the people, for the laborers that are going actually right now in very difficult and challenging times. Mr. Ludson, before we start going into this union affairs, because people are very curious to know all what you have to inform them and tell them about the union in general and also about the Sint Maarten Communication Union. First of all, I would just like for the people that does not know you yet to know who you are. I would like you to use your biography just to introduce yourself. Who is this Mr. Evers?
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Ludson Evers. I born on the island of Curacao. I went to school in Curacao. I have a electrical background, but I came to Sint Maarten at a very young age, and then started working here. And then I started to work at Tilem in the year of 1989 after Hurricane Hugo. And from there, I work at Tilem till today. With unionism, I started unionism in 1994, 95, right before Hurricane Lewis. We started with the STTK, Sindicato Tradono Corsao, but I didn't like the name Sindicato Tradono Corsao because it don't sound for Sint Maarten.
Of course.
Okay, so from there we said that we have to do something with the name. So we made a change and make it Sint Maarten Communication Union. Yeah, and Sint Maarten Communication Union is around from the early 2000s. And I am the president of the Sint Maarten Communication Unions since the year roughly 2008, 2009, around that area. I became the president. The challenges in that areas is very high because great responsibility. First, we were alone a union representing employees at Telem, and then from there we branched out and we went to the post office, and then from there we went out to GEBE. From there we went out to Sint Maarten Housing, and right now we have a group of members knocking on the door from SZV. So that's how we kept branching out, and of course this is solely because of the achievements that we have in the seat of the union.
Wow, impressive. And listening to you, Mr. Evers, as you said, it started as a union to represent the workers of Telem, actually.
Correct.
And all of a sudden now you're talking with me about representing not only Telem, but also representing the employees of GB, the employees of the post office,
Yes.
Sint Maarten Housing, and actually possibility also to represent the employees of SZV.
Correct.
So actually you have a big responsibility with this union to represent all these people who are working in all these sectors in this community.
Yes.
Impressive.
Yes.
And you are a leader of the president of the Sint Maarten Communication Unit since 2000 and?
2000 and roughly 9.
2008.
Yes.
So actually, approximately already 13 years, the
Correct.
leader and the president of the.
Correct.
And still nobody wants to replace you because I
No.
think you're doing a great job for the
Yes.
country. What, by the way, the people of Sint Maarten are thanking you for all the efforts that you made and did for the laborers, the workers, the hardworking people of country Sint Maarten. And really, Mrs. Evers, I have great respect for you, and I'm very thankful, and I think the people of Sint Maarten also are very thankful and grateful that you have been fighting for those, the weaker ones in our community, those with challenges, for those that need a little backup, a little support in their struggle to survive on the labor market. For that, I want to thank you. Very, very good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome and appreciate it.
Mr. Evers, what gave you the incentive to affiliate yourself with a union and now being actually a legend since 13 years for the Sint Maarten Communication Union? What inspired you to go in unionism?
It was a very challenging decision for my person.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Prior of being president of the union, I was a judo instructor. Yeah, and because I noticed, we have noticed at the time, and it still is, that there is not much activities for the children after school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we say, and whatever activities it have, it is because there is so much dollars and cents involved. Yeah. And so we decided to do something to help the less fortunate children and teach them the art of judo, which is a great discipline that a person can learn in all kind of ways. Yeah, but now as I am in the workforce, I also see the abuse on the laborers. Yep. So, and then I was in between the helping the youths and want to help the laborers. Now I'm saying, okay, if I help the youths, how am I going to help the parents? Because the parents are not ready. They cannot help the children.
Yes.
So it was a very challenging decision for me to actually let go the teaching of the judo and dedicate my time and helping the ones that cannot help themselves in the workforce, because a lot of people out there working regardless of the level of their education, but it's not everybody is versed in the labor laws that we have in this country that governing the labor market. Mm-hmm. So majority of people, even the employers, believe that it's based on their feelings is how they have to act, which where we have laws governing this country. Mm-hmm. So I dare make the decision to say, I have to let go the hands of the youths and go and help the adults.
Union. Okay, that's great. Mr. Evers, you have been for a long while in unionism in Sint Maarten. What are for you the biggest challenges in all those years for unions of Sint Maarten?
Our greatest and biggest challenges that we have is getting this bond with government. Mm-hmm. Union has a role to play, government has a role to play, but those two roles, they are aiming in the same direction. There might be different responsibilities, but they aiming in the same direction. Because when a politician goes and stand on a podium and requesting people to vote for them, is because they want to do something for the people. Mm-hmm. So now here you have the union who are directly defending the rights of the people, and at times need the assistance of the authority of the individual sitting in government. Because as a union, you not always have the means and ways of which, whether say the finances to fight the battles against the giants that you goes against. Mm-hmm. So for that reason, we knock a lot on the doors of government. But it's not a great relationship that you could see, that you could say that it is always a welcome, or they will address it and stuff like that. It's just a very challenging
situation.
Very challenging.
Mr. Evers, I'm very actually impressed and astonished with this statement that you're making. I am in politics. I'm a leader of the URSM. We are heading towards an election because I believe that we should do more for the people of this country. On the other side, you are standing there also to do the same for the people of Sint Maarten. You
Correct.
want the best for the people of this country.
Correct.
And you're fighting for their rights. And I'm in politics because I want to improve the livelihood in general of the people of this country.
Correct.
I do not understand how it's possible that all of a sudden now I go in government and then I become actually the one standing straight against you, while we are actually initially with the intention to help the people of this country. And instead of we working together to get it going, to achieve the main purposes of improving the livelihood of the individuals in this country. Now we're going to start fighting with each other. And every time again, I see this phenomena of standing for the common good of the people of this country. And while we are doing that, instead of we trying to embrace each other, we are fighting each other like we don't want to give each other an edge of the benefits to improve the livelihood of the people of this country.
Correct. You said it correct, Mr. Messalina. And at times, okay, we call it fighting, but it is the promises that you get, the high hopes that you get, and the empty back that you receive after the high hopes and the promises. Yeah, so it's a promises. Yes, we will look at it. We will get back to you. No, it don't happen. I will take the last one that I did, if I may, Mr. Messalina. I sent a letter from the union to the Prime Minister because there is a confusion with the 12.5 national ordinance on the temporary law. There is a confusion of the implementation.
Yeah.
So the question went to the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers, copy to the parliamentarians. Please help the government-owned companies understand the implementation of this law, because it is not clear in the law how to implement it. The letter went the 16th of February of 2022. Yet to receive an answer.
Incredible.
Or a phone call.
Yes. And being something very important for the people of this country, imagine this implementation of this 12.5% is something that will have big consequences for the people of this country. And until today, after sending this letter in November last year, until today...
No, not November, February
this year.
This year.
Until now,
no
being
answer.
that this call is still hanging in the air, no reaction of government concerning this letter that the union sent to government.
None whatsoever.
Incredible. Mr. Evers, something else. I often hear about a government mediator. Can you explain me how that works with a government mediator and what is the role of the government mediator towards the unions?
Okay, I will give you the understanding that my person as a president of the union have about the role of a government mediator, and also the understanding that I have of trainings that I follow on mediation. So I have my own interpretation of government mediator, and I have the interpretation of the trainings that I follow on mediation. Government mediator is to bring parties on the table when it has an imbalance, a friction on whatever topic it has, and the topic has to be affecting 25 employees plus. Anytime you have a misunderstanding, a meeting during working hours or whatever, and it affects 25 employees plus, you find the government mediator stepping in. But my problem that I have with the government mediator when they step in is that they don't mediate, because asking party number one what is their standpoint, and asking party number two what is their standpoint, and not trying to bring the two to the common goal for both parties, for it to become a win-win situation, and parties to understand that, okay, your interpretation is wrong, Party number one, your interpretation is wrong. This is how it's got to be. And so we have to find this common goal, and from here we have to move forward. I'm going to take again the 12.5%. This is what is the most painful currently on the table with our government mediator. Because the company GEBE withhold the employees' vacation allowance towards the 12.5% without doing absolutely no calculation.
Just like that.
Just like that, we have to implement. The government said we have to implement the 12.5% of the law, and we have to hold back the vacation allowance from the employees. Where is your calculation? Oh, we don't have it as yet. Or it is by the board. It is all over, but yet not on the table from the government mediator. The government mediator has the rights to request the management of GB, bring your calculation because you are infringing the agreement that you have with the employees.
Factual information.
Yeah. You have TLM. TLM is holding the employees' performance bonus. It is holding the 14-month bonus. Is maybe planned to hold the vacation allowance. So they're holding the monies. Where is the calculation? The calculation, is it correct? Now the government mediator cannot say if the calculation that the one TLM has, if it is correct, yes or no. It is your duty,
your responsibility,
to find out if it is correct, yes or no.
Yes. And you see, so actually the government mediator, in the way it functions now, has a very passive stance on actual issues going on the labor market. Too passive. Actually, they do not take the initiative to get to a common solution for the problem. And of course, sometimes you have to come to a consensus, you have to make a compromise. That's all in the game to get to a solution. But actually, you see that the mediator stays very passive in approach to the requested or the presented problem from the union.
The mediator stays neutral.
Very neutral.
Instead of taking an active role of mediation.
To start to try to solve the problem.
Correct.
Exactly. Mr. Evers, this is a very interesting conversation going on here. But actually I realize that the time is flying on us. We are going to take a small break and we will be back in a few minutes.
Okay, good.
Dear people of Sint Maarten, welcome to the second half of our weekly radio program, You Are Sint Maarten. As said in the first half we have today as a special invitee in our program, Mr. Ludson Evers. And as have been said in our introduction, we have Mr. Ludson Evers here today with us because actually he is the leader of and the president actually of the Sint Maarten Communication Union. And actually he is representing more than only the telecommunication sector. He is also representing the GEBE, the post office, and Sint Maarten housing employees too. And there is a possibility that SWB will also in the future be part of representation in the communication union.
Correct.
Great. Mr. Ludson, I have a very sensitive question for you. Where do the Sint Maarten Communication Union stands concerning the 12.5% reduction in income salary by the workers? What is the stance of the Sint Maarten Communication Union?
Okay, doctor. If you leave it for the Sint Maarten Communication Union, the 12.5% should be off the table. It should never be on the table for the simple fact that the government-owned companies, when they pay in on this 12.5%, the money goes absolutely nowhere. The money stays in the pot of the companies. So the reason for paying in on the 12.5% is not helping the budget of government.
So you're telling me, Mr. Evers, that there has been a proposal to implement a deduction of 12.5% of the workers of, for example, the Telem that you represent, but there is no explanation what is going to be done and what is the destiny of the money that they keep back, that they hold back from the workers. So you do not have an explanation what is going to happen with that reserved money.
In the law, there is no article that ties that money with the government. So the money will be deducted because it's for the government-owned companies to be in solidarity with the civil servants, and the civil servants had to be in solidarity with a private entity because of the SSRP plan at the time that the companies was collecting 80% of the salaries from their employees. But nevertheless, we have a law.
Mm-hmm.
We have a law, and I am a citizen that obeys by law. So I obeys by the law. So the law has to be implemented. Okay. Where we stand? We stand that how did government reach to their 12.5%? Okay. We asked the question in the letter of the February of 16. We have not received no answer. But yet this is Sint Maarten. So we have received the format that government used to reach to their 12.5%, which was they took all the salaries and they take 12.5% from the salaries and they look in the benefits and how to reduce it. Okay, even in the law has the part that from January 2021 there is no more salary increase for all civil servants until further notice. Now, what government did, they took that salary increase and they also use it in the 12.5% calculation. So what SMCU is saying, since the law was made by government, since government reached to this format, then this format should be able to apply for all government-owned companies. And right now we have that by our lawyer, where we are busy seeking legal advice that we can use it. And once we get legal advice that yes, we could use this, and then this is what we will be implementing as the 12.5%. Then because right now how the companies have it, they are not reducing, they are cutting. Yeah, and the way government calculated, it was based on reduction. So this way the employees could get at least 70% of their vacation allowance. They could get 60 or 70% of the Christmas bonus. They could get, so it is not a complete cut like how it is currently in the government-owned companies. And this we plan to share with all unions for they to implement it this way. So however it was implemented, if it was wrong, this is how to implement.
Mr. Evers, are they deducting already this 12.5% by the workers of the government-owned companies?
Yes.
They are doing it already?
They're doing it, yes.
Okay, but that means that the unions are looking at this going on already.
Yes, what is happening is that in the law, it has a clause that for the deduction to happen, there must be an agreement. Yeah.
But the agreement is not there.
There is no agreement.
And still they're doing it.
And still they're doing it. So that you could consider illegal. But at the other end, the company could say, I am not deducting it. I am holding it until we reach the agreement. Okay. Yeah, understand? So there is the
actually
room.
It's a little illegal.
Yes, it is illegal.
Of course.
It is illegal.
You cannot, as such, just withhold money of the people. It's
correct.
Not possible.
It is illegal.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm currently busy with in Telem case, there is a profit sharing from 2019 that has been withheld, and there is an agreement of paying it into 2021. So it's currently at the doorstep of the court for it to be paid.
So it's a hot topic at this particular
It is a hot topic. The 12.5% is a very hot topic.
Mr. Evers, what is now the relationship with you as president of the Sint Maarten Communication Union and, for example, the executives in government, being the ministers? Do you guys, for example, I can imagine that the Minister of Labor will be involved in this, or actually the Prime Minister, because it's general affairs. How is the relationship between the unions and the ministers at this particular moment?
Well, the last meeting it had was the 23rd of December of
last year,
2021, and every time there is a meeting with the Council of Ministers, you don't even receive a copy of a minute of the meeting.
You guys are not being taken serious, if I can.
That is
incredible.
That's all I could say. Because as long you cannot present me with a minute of the meeting, it would mean to say we didn't had a conversation.
Yeah, the meeting didn't take place.
The meeting didn't take place.
Yeah,
it took place for the unions.
Yeah.
But for you, it was just okay. Yeah, they're coming, they're gone. Yeah, there is no minutes. Maybe they have minutes, but the minutes is for the Council of Ministers. It's not being shared with the union.
So bilateral minutes has not been signed as being approved.
I have not seen it.
Incredible. While these are serious issues now that is playing a major role in community, this 12.5%.
Yes.
So that is until now, since December until now, the unions did not have a serious meeting with approved minutes about this measure of this 12.5%.
Correct.
Wow, incredible.
Correct.
You can speak for your union, the Sint Maarten Communication Union. The way this is going, actually, it's unacceptable that they are withholding the money until a official agreement is reached with the workers, and in this case, the workers that you represent.
Correct.
How do you think an agreement can be reached if this way of poor communication is going on between the union, the government-owned company, and the government? If I think about this, I think the only way that this will end up is that this will end up in court.
Well, there's where I am basically driving it. As a matter of fact, every time a employer talks to me, they have to be very careful. I'm not saying this for bragging, but they have to be very careful that when they talk to me, because when you talk to me, I am already in front of the doorsteps of the courthouse. As you said, Doctor, government mediator, government-owned companies, they are all having one interpretation or different interpretation for what the unions are having. And there is no even a back door where they let you in and try to understand from the small man perspective. Yeah, they're not understanding the small man perspective because, as you know, gasoline is strictly going up and up and up and up.
Yep.
And here we're talking about cuts.
Yes.
So how are we evaluating the going up in the gasoline prices? Once gasoline price go up, cost of living will increase, and we're talking about cuts.
Yes. And you are right with that, Mr. Evers. I have made a statement recently. I do not believe, and that is a fundamental error that every time again people make and think in times of crisis, in times of financial challenges, you have to do and make and implement cuts on salaries of individuals. That's one. Secondly, you have to lay off people And thirdly, you have to increase taxes. That is standard every time again.
Correct.
The action plan in crisis time. And we see that again, repeating that we want to lay off people, we want to reduce their salary, and the government wants to increase taxes.
Correct.
I disagree with these three steps in time of crisis, because I do believe that the more you implement those three measures, it's going to challenge your local economy more and more.
Correct.
For example, in the time of the pandemic, the civil servants and the servants in the government-owned companies did not lose their job.
Correct.
But all other workers in other sectors outside government and outside the government-owned companies, a lot of them lost their job.
Correct.
Okay, so they're trying now to make a living while they do not have a job anymore. They're going to try, for example, to start selling things. The only persons and groups of people that maintain a stable income in the pandemic time is the civil servant and those of the government-owned companies. Can you imagine now that those that are maintaining a local, vulnerable economy going are those people? And if you, at this particular moment, reduce their income, that means they will have less spending power to buy, and try to help those, support those that have to make an income outside of revenues of government and outside incomes generated by government-owned companies. That's why as the URSM, we believe that cutting salaries as such, laying off people as such, and increasing taxes will not in crisis time better the crisis that the people are in. It's going to make the local economy
Worse.
more tense,
Yes.
and it's going to make the local economy more challenging.
Correct.
And I do believe that the URSM is standing for the people. We want to put the people and the country above self, and we do believe that this implementation as such, without a good reasoning how this will be implemented and where this money is going, is actually doing injustice to the laborers of this country. Mr.
Yes.
Ludson, what is now your relationship with Parliament? Because that is actually the ones that are designing the laws. These are the ones calling the shots in the direction that the country has to go, because people must understand that the Parliament of Sint Maarten are the representatives of the people, and they are actually the boss that control government and
Correct.
give direction to government.
Correct.
But where is the Parliament of Sint Maarten standing now in this issue?
Well, that is a very good question, Mr. Mersalina. I could recall when this 12.5% came on the table, we marched and we went to the Parliament building. Yes, we had meetings in parliaments, and then yes, Parliament understand the situation, and then Parliament still passed the law on the 12.5%.
Incredible.
Yeah, and then the judge is going to say that yes, government was between a rock and a hard place. I don't get that. Our relationship with Parliament, I cannot say Parliament has a closed door. You can approach Parliament. You can, the former chairman of Parliament, I could have approached him. The current chair lady of Parliament, yes, I can approach her. But it is so much they can do, because again there is a coalition, and this coalition that we have, I think their intention is to serve for 4 years. I believe that's the solely intention it have of this with Parliament, the coalition, and the Council of Mayors.
Independent.
4 years.
Independent of the price that the suffering people will pay
Yes.
for this
Yes.
objection.
Yes, because the amount of situations we brought to the table of Parliament, and here we are
Today, nothing happening. So, in summary, Mr. Evers, if the liberals should wait on an effort from the mediator, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
If the laborers should wait for an effort of the ministers, it's not going to
It's
happen.
not going to happen.
And if the laborers are waiting for a effort of parliament, it's not going to
It's
happen.
not going to happen.
So actually, we are back at square one, where we see that the problems of the laborers are again in the lap of the unions.
Correct.
And the way this is going now, seeing that there is no goodwill from representatives of the people of the country being parliament, there is no goodwill and intention from the executive body being the government of Sint Maarten, then there is no other option that the unions will have to assume the responsibility and look for other ways to solve the problem that they are encountering now for the people of this country.
Correct. And that will be go to court, and then again the giants that we goes up against. The giants we go up against. They have their finances, and unions. They know that they have very low income. Yeah, unions have very low income. So what it is to challenge you until you run out of gas, and when you run out of gas, they will continue doing what they are busy doing. That is what is happening on this island. If at this particular moment, because if you see the crying of the people from the jewel stores that have a verdict and they can't collect the money, they have the people from the towers that have an agreement to get paid and they can't collect the money. And what is our people doing? What is Parliament doing for them? What is our government doing for them? What is the mediator doing for them? What is the Labor Department doing for them? So, as you said, we run in circle around square one. That's where we are.
And Mr. Evers, if there would be a common effort with a very evident, defined purpose why we all are doing this with each other, you will understand and explain to the workers, listen, we are going to get less income, we're going to get a reduction of our income of 12.5%, but at the end of the day, it's going to serve a bigger purpose.
Yes.
And as you said, no, they're keeping the monies back, the 12.5% in the government-owned companies, but nobody is explaining the laborer that is suffering, okay, I have your 12.5%, and this is what is going to happen with this amount of money. That is not happening.
It's not happening.
So you cannot even motivate them why they're doing what they're doing now by giving in 12.5% of their income.
Correct. And this is what I told in many interviews I had, is that we are busy creating people that will only go to work.
Yeah.
Instead of going and do the job, they will go to work.
And they will lose all motivation.
They will lose all motivation
to do what they
all
have to
motivation.
do. Yes. And that is a dangerous situation.
It's a very dangerous situation
if we
yes.
continue that way.
Correct.
I come back to the first concept that we from the URSM believe in, Mr. Evers, is that we believe that politicians that get the mandate to go in government or in parliament, especially in parliament, that they get a mandate because they believe they can help the people. And the disappointment that we see every time again is that once they get in government, once they get a seat in parliament, you see that they forget the original intention why they went in the political arena, actually
Correct.
to help the people of this country.
Correct.
And now you see, for example, the unions having their challenges. They're bringing them to the same people that thought initially and said to the people that they're there to put them above self, put country above self. And all of a sudden now you see that those members are not doing anything for the laborers of country Sint Maarten.
Correct.
You know, Mr. Evers, there are big challenges now in this country. There is actually no social security more for the people in this country. We are getting to a very, very vulnerable situation with this country, that poverty is taking over this country.
Yes.
Unemployment is taking over this country, and a weak education that cannot supply adequate education to keep kids at school. What I mean with that is that you see a lot of dropouts at school.
Yes.
If we consider all those developments that is going on in this country at this particular moment, I think it's weakening the social security of this country with all negative effects, as for example, increase of criminality that this can implicate on the long term. So I think it's time for the people of Sint Maarten to wake up. I hope that after election time or by the election time, people will wake up and make up their mind and think twice before they mandate people to take care of their business. That's the hope of the URSM, and hopefully this election will be sooner than later, but that is a statement that me as the leader of the Unified Resilient Sint Maarten movement is making, because I think that we as a people are running out of energy to keep this going. Mr. Evers, it was a very interesting interview that I had with you. I would like to thank you for the time that you took out to be in this interview. I would like to give you the floor as closure of this program.
Well, Doc, Mr. Marcelina, I would like to thank you for having me here this evening, and speak out on behalf of the people, because at times they think when I speak out, I'm speaking for Ludson Evers. No, I'm not speaking for Ludson Evers. I'm speaking for the people who cannot speak out. And I believe, for those who believe in God, I believe that this is my purpose here on earth. I'm going to execute the job that was posted into me to do to the best of my ability. There is no funds tied to it, so I will execute this task to the best of my ability, and hoping for the best, that one day we will see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Evers. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now at the end of our radio program. Thank you for your attention, and looking forward to have you back next week, Wednesday, from 6 to 7 p.m. on 94.7 Radio Mix FM. Have a great evening.